Power does not corrupt, it reveals. A timeless Zen proverb. Power. It's something we all encounter, whether directly or indirectly. You may not hold great authority in a government office, but power exists in everyday moments. You're a boss overseeing employees. You're a teacher leading a classroom, or a parent guiding their children, even a friend who suddenly has influence over others. Power grants freedom. It allows a person to act without constraints, exposing their true intentions, values, and desires. When someone gains power, the masks often slip away. Their actions become a window into their soul. Let's delve deeper with examples, stories, and reflections to understand why power is the ultimate test of character. Firstly, why does power reveal who we are? Imagine for a moment that you've suddenly inherited great power. Perhaps you've become the leader of a company, a group, or even a nation. The constraints that once held you back are gone. You no longer need to impress anyone. You don't have to conform to please others. In this moment of freedom, your deepest desires come to the surface. Will you use your power to help others, lead with humility, and inspire those around you? Or will you succumb to arrogance, greed, and selfishness? Power removes the filters we put on our behavior. It acts like a mirror, reflecting what truly lies within. A classic Buddhist teaching says, "A person who cannot manage their power will lose themselves to it." Next, the parable of the two leaders. Let me share with you an ancient story often told in Zen monasteries, a story about two leaders who were tested by power. Once, in a distant land, two young men were given leadership over two neighboring villages. Both were bright, ambitious, and full of promise. The first leader, let's call him Arjun, began his rule with grand speeches and promises of fairness. But as time went on, his behavior began to change. Arjun demanded admiration from his villagers, punished anyone who questioned him, and surrounded himself with sycophants who only told him what he wanted to hear. The second leader, named Ravi, took a different approach. Ravi spent his days listening to the concerns of his villagers. He made decisions with compassion and fairness, always prioritizing the greater good over personal gain. Despite his position of power, Ravi remained humble. He would often share meals with his people and work alongside them during harvests. Years later, the villages faced a severe drought. Under Arjun's rule, chaos erupted. He hoarded resources for himself, while his villagers suffered. People turned against one another in desperation. Meanwhile, in Ravi's village, the people remained united. Ravi led by example, sharing his own food and encouraging cooperation. His humility and leadership inspired the villagers to endure the drought together, emerging stronger than before. When the drought ended, one village stood in ruins, while the other thrived. The moral of the story is clear. Power reveals the heart. Arjun used power for personal gain, exposing his arrogance and greed. Ravi used power as a responsibility, revealing his kindness and wisdom. We don't have to look far to see this principle play out in the real world. History and everyday life are full of examples of how people behave when given power. A first example, a boss and their team. Picture a new manager who has just been promoted. First, they seem friendly and approachable. But once they hold authority, their behavior shifts. They become demanding, critical, and dismissive of their team's efforts. They use their position to elevate themselves rather than support others. Contrast this with another manager who uses their power to uplift the team. They encourage growth, celebrate successes, and foster a positive work environment. Under their leadership, the team thrives. In another example, a parent and a child. Power exists even in parenting. A parent has immense influence over their children. How do they use it? Do they guide their children with love, patience, and wisdom? Or do they resort to control, anger, and harsh discipline? The way a parent uses their power shapes not only their child's future, but also reveals their own character. At this point, you might be wondering, why is this important? How does it help me? The answer lies in awareness. By observing how others behave when they hold power, we gain valuable insights into their character. This knowledge helps us make wise choices. In relationships, if someone uses their influence to manipulate or dominate others, it's a red flag. At work, Leaders who act with kindness and humility inspire trust and loyalty. And in ourselves, how do you act when you're given power, even in small moments? As Zen teaches, do not seek to judge others. Seek to understand, and in understanding, act wisely. As we delve deeper into the profound teachings of Zen and Buddhism, we begin to recognize that life provides us with two unfailing tools for understanding the human soul: power and adversity. These elements act as a mirror, one that reflects not just the surface but the very core of a person's character. While Part 1 introduced us to the foundational ideas and timeless parables, this segment will expand upon the complexities of these concepts. Through more detailed narratives, historical references, and real-world applications, we'll discover how power and adversity continue to shape lives, relationships, and societies. Moreover, this part will invite you to question your own responses to power and hardship, urging you to align your actions with the values you hold dear. The test of power, actions and freedom. Zen wisdom often asserts that power grants freedom. Freedom from constraints, freedom to act according to one's true desires. But with this freedom comes responsibility, and it is here that the genuine essence of a person is revealed. How an individual wields power speaks volumes about their inner values, intentions, and self-control. Historical examples of power revealing character. History provides us with countless lessons about the effects of power on character. Consider Emperor Ashoka of ancient India, who began his reign as a ruthless conqueror but underwent a profound transformation after witnessing the horrors of war. His newfound embrace of Buddhism led him to use his power for peace, justice, and the welfare of his people. Contrast this with the story of King Louis XIV of France, whose unyielding thirst for power and opulence strained his kingdom to the breaking point, ultimately leaving his people impoverished. Both figures held immense authority, yet their choices diverged dramatically. Ashoka's story demonstrates how power can amplify virtues, while Louis XIV's reign serves as a cautionary tale of unchecked ego and selfishness. In the corporate world, power dynamics can also unveil true character. Imagine two managers, both given the responsibility of leading their teams during a critical project. Manager A uses their position to micromanage, criticize, and dominate, creating a toxic environment. Meanwhile, Manager B takes a collaborative approach, empowering team members and ensuring they feel valued. Over time, Manager B's team thrives, while Manager A's team becomes disengaged. The difference lies not in their titles, but in how they perceive their power. Manager A views power as a tool for control, while Manager B sees it as an opportunity to serve and uplift others. The Zen perspective on power. A Zen principle reminds us, the river does not boast of its strength, yet it shapes the land through its gentle persistence. True strength and power lies in humility. Zen teachings encourage us to observe how people treat those who are weaker, less influential, or dependent on them. The way someone treats a waiter, a janitor, or even a stray animal can reveal more about their character than their treatment of equals or superiors. While power lays bare desires, adversity exposes resilience. How one reacts to challenges often reflects the strength of their spirit. Life's hardships, loss, failure, betrayal, strip away pretense and force individuals to confront their deepest fears and values. The tale of two entrepreneurs. Let's take the example of two entrepreneurs facing the same setback: the failure of their startups. Entrepreneur A becomes consumed by bitterness, blaming external circumstances and withdrawing from future opportunities. Entrepreneur B, on the other hand, acknowledges their mistakes, learns from them, and approaches their next venture with renewed wisdom. Over time, Entrepreneur B's resilience leads to success, while Entrepreneur A remains trapped in a cycle of regret. The key difference? Their reaction to adversity. One saw it as an end, while the other saw it as a beginning. Resilience in Buddhist teachings. Buddhism emphasizes that suffering is an inevitable part of life, but it also teaches that suffering can be transformative. The Lotus Sutra, one of the most revered Buddhist texts, uses the metaphor of the lotus flower, which blooms in muddy waters, to symbolize the potential for beauty and enlightenment to arise from difficulty. Consider the story of Kisagotami, a grieving mother who sought Buddha's help to revive her deceased child. Buddha asked her to collect mustard seeds from a household untouched by death. As she went door to door, she realized that suffering was universal. This realization helped her find peace and embrace the impermanence of life. Kisagotami's journey exemplifies how adversity can lead to profound personal growth and wisdom. Power and adversity in relationships. Understanding how power and adversity influence behavior isn't just an abstract exercise. It's deeply relevant to our everyday relationships. Friendships tested by power. Imagine a long-time friendship in which one person suddenly achieves great success or wealth. Does this newfound power change how they treat their friend? Are they still humble, kind, and generous, or do they become dismissive and arrogant? Such moments often test the authenticity of a relationship. Romantic relationships and adversity. Similarly, adversity often tests romantic relationships. Couples may face financial hardships, health issues, or other challenges. Do they support each other with patience and compassion? Or do they allow stress to drive a wedge between them? Observing how partners navigate difficult times can reveal the strength of their bond and their commitment to one another. Turning the lens inward. While observing others can offer valuable insights, Zen and Buddhist teachings remind us that the ultimate journey is inward. Ask yourself, how do I act when I have power? How do I react when life challenges me? Power in everyday life. Even if you don't hold a formal position of authority, there are moments when you have power, whether as a parent, a mentor, or even a customer interacting with service staff. Are you mindful of how you use this power? Do you act with kindness and fairness, or do you allow ego to dictate your behavior? Adversity as a teacher. When faced with adversity, do you respond with grace and resilience, or do you give in to anger and despair? Reflecting on your reactions can help you identify areas for growth and align your actions with your values. To incorporate these lessons into your life, consider the following practices. 1. Observe without judgment. Pay attention to how people act in moments of power and adversity, but resist the urge to label or judge them. Instead, use these observations to understand their values and intentions. 2. Set boundaries wisely. When someone's true character proves harmful, don't hesitate to protect your peace by setting firm boundaries. Remember, distancing yourself from negativity is an act of self-respect, not cruelty. 3. Be the example. Strive to embody the virtues you seek in others. Use power responsibly and face adversity with courage. Your actions can inspire those around you to do the same. 4. Practice compassion. Even when encountering flaws in others, approach them with understanding. Everyone is on their own journey, and offering kindness can foster connection and growth. If these teachings resonate with you, consider how you can apply them in your own life. Start by reflecting on your own actions and reactions. Are they aligned with your values? If not, what changes can you make? And if you found value in these insights, I invite you to join our community by subscribing to the Buddhism in Modern Life YouTube channel. Together, we can continue exploring timeless wisdom and applying it to the challenges of today's world. As we transition to the final part of this journey, we'll explore how these teachings can be used not just to understand others, but to foster personal growth, build meaningful relationships, and navigate life with wisdom and compassion. Let us continue this exploration in Part 3, the last part, unveiling the path to inner harmony and enlightenment. As we journey into the final part of this exploration into Zen and Buddhist teachings, let us now consolidate the insights we've uncovered and delve into how these lessons apply not just to others, but also to ourselves. Observing someone's actions in power and reactions in adversity is more than an external exercise. It is a gateway to profound self-awareness and lasting peace. The Zen master's final piece of wisdom to the traveler was a striking reminder. True enlightenment begins with introspection. While it's valuable to discern the character of others, the real transformation comes when we ask ourselves, how do I act when I have power? How do I respond when life challenges me? Power as a litmus test of integrity. When we are in positions of power, even in small, everyday scenarios, our choices reveal what truly resides within us. Consider this. Have you ever been in charge of a group project? Or perhaps found yourself in a position of authority at work. How did you treat those who depended on you? Here's an example. A manager at a large corporation once rose through the ranks due to his technical skills. However, when given power, his attitude shifted. He micromanaged his team, belittled their contributions, and prioritized his own image over the team's well-being. On the other hand, another manager in a similar position adopted a completely different approach. She empowered her team, sought their input, and celebrated their successes as a collective. These two individuals demonstrated that power does not create character. It simply unveils what is already present. Now ask yourself, if you were placed in a similar position, would you use power as a tool for control or as an opportunity to uplift others? Adversity as the forge of the spirit. Adversity, much like power, strips away pretense. In moments of pain, failure, or loss, how we react speaks volumes about our inner strength and values. Imagine two siblings who face the same family tragedy, the loss of their childhood home. One becomes bitter, constantly dwelling on what was taken from them, lashing out at loved ones. The other chooses acceptance, working tirelessly to rebuild and supporting their family emotionally. This divergence in reactions is not about luck or innate resilience. It is about mindset. Adversity does not break us. It reveals our capacity for growth. Think back to your own life. How have you responded to life's trials? Did you rise above them with grace? Or did you allow negativity to consume you? The role of self-awareness in building stronger relationships. By turning the lens inward, we gain the clarity needed to cultivate meaningful relationships. Zen teaches that understanding ourselves helps us connect with others more authentically. When we are aware of our own strengths and flaws, we are better equipped to identify and nurture relationships that enrich our lives while setting boundaries with those who drain our energy. Building your nest in a place of peace. The parable of the sparrow and the eagle is a poignant metaphor for modern life. While we cannot control how others behave, we can choose where to build our nest. Surrounding ourselves with compassionate, supportive individuals creates a sanctuary where we can thrive. Here's an actionable tip. Take a moment to evaluate your social circle. Who uplifts you? Who consistently drains your energy or violates your boundaries? Letting go of toxic relationships is not an act of cruelty, but one of self-preservation. The ripple effect of being a positive influence. As much as we observe others, remember that others are observing us too. Every action, every decision we make, has a ripple effect. Strive to be the person who inspires kindness and power and resilience in adversity. Your behavior might become the guiding light for someone else on their journey. Practical steps to implement these teachings. To embody these Zen principles, here are some simple yet profound practices you can start today. 1. Practice mindful observation. Next time you interact with someone, pay close attention to how they behave when they're under stress or in a position of authority. Use this not to judge, but to understand. Similarly, reflect on your own actions in such moments. 2. Set boundaries with compassion. Boundaries are not walls, but bridges to healthier relationships. When someone's behavior consistently harms your peace, address the issue with clarity and kindness. If necessary, step back from the relationship altogether. 3. Cultivate inner strength. Life will always present challenges, but how you respond is within your control. Develop habits like journaling, meditation, or practicing gratitude to build resilience. 4. Lead with kindness. Whether you're in a position of power or simply interacting with others in daily life, choose kindness. Remember, the way you treat others when you have the upper hand reveals your true character. 5. Seek growth in adversity. Instead of resisting challenges, embrace them as opportunities to grow. As the Buddha taught, suffering can polish the soul, just as friction smooths a rough stone. A critical takeaway from Zen teachings is the importance of observation without judgment. By refraining from attaching labels, we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional entanglements. This approach allows us to see others, and ourselves, more clearly. Imagine someone who reacts poorly in adversity. Instead of labeling them as weak or selfish, consider the context of their behavior. Perhaps they are carrying unseen burdens. Viewing others with compassion does not mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does mean approaching life with greater understanding and grace. As the traveler's story reminds us, the ultimate goal of observing character is not to judge, but to act with wisdom. This wisdom helps us navigate relationships, build meaningful connections, and protect our inner peace. Yet the most profound application of this teaching lies in self-discovery. Ask yourself, how do I use the power I hold, no matter how small? How do I react when life tests me? Am I building relationships that nurture my spirit? Am I striving to be the person I wish to see in others? The path to enlightenment is not about achieving perfection, but about aligning ourselves with truth and compassion. By embodying these virtues, we not only transform our own lives, but also inspire positive change in the world around us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Zen and Buddhist teachings. If this video resonated with you, I encourage you to take these lessons to heart and share them with those around you. Let's build a community of individuals striving to live with wisdom, kindness, and resilience. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Buddhism in Modern Life for more thought-provoking content like this. Together, we can explore the timeless wisdom of Buddhism and its relevance to our daily lives. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and let me know in the comments, what's one way you've observed true character in others? I'd love to hear your thoughts.